Hello and welcome to Odders Plays, and welcome to my first impressions of Dragon Ball Xenoverse. This game is the next big Dragon Ball Z game, and the first one, well, Dragon Ball game, not just Dragon Ball Z, and it's the first one to be on the next-gen system, so that's why it's so interesting. And, you know, there are some pluses and there are some minuses, but on the whole, I really like Dragon Ball Xenoverse. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. There's a few things that really frustrate me with it. However, in terms of it being a Dragon Ball game, I love it. I love it. As a game, like, you know, there are the odd mechanic which just doesn't seem right, but on the whole, as a Dragon Ball game, I love it, and I'll go into that in a bit more detail. First of all, there are several modes. There's your story mode, where there is these invaders of time rearranging the time system and changing history's events. So the predicted events now are things like, instead of the big Great Ape battle with Vegeta, Goku has to battle against Great Ape Vegeta and Great Ape Nappa, both in their Uzaru forms. And of course that didn't happen in the Dragon Ball manga or anime. And there are these little events that you have to sort of go back in time to rectify. And I really like that storyline, because the problem with so many anime games is that unless they have a storyline unique to the game that they're in, then they're just taking from the original source material over and over again. And unfortunately for Dragon Ball, it's been around since the 80s, and that source material has been gone over and over and over and over again many a time. I mean, you know, as much as I'd love it, how many times do we have to fight against Nappa and Vegeta? Well, you're going to do it all over again, but at least there's somewhat of a different premise this time. And at least they worked that in to try and change the story mode up a bit, because I think they must have realised that by now it's getting a little bit repetitive, just a little bit. That's just my 2 cents on that. There is online versus, where you can go up against other real people, which is fine, but it seems like the levels you gain in the game to upgrade your character and upgrade their attributes and skill points, it does look like they carry over to multiplayer. And as a result, I think I've been fighting against a lot of Japanese players who, like, I can't get a hit in at all. I could be really bad at the game, like, that's entirely possible, but the amount of damage they do and the size of their health bar in comparison to, like, my own, it's ridiculous. So I'm under the assumption it says they're at like level 40 something, whereas I'm at level 15. So I don't know, maybe when the game becomes actually comes out in the West, we'll see a lot more newer Western players, and therefore they won't be just killing me all over and over again. The online co-op, which is the parallel quest missions, which you can do online, you can do all these offline as well. I really like these because you can team up with 2 other real-life players and tackle, like, Nappa, Raditz, Vegeta, then Vegeta in his Uzaru form, and there's loads of other story quests that you can do with other people, and I love this. You can turn on voice chat, however I haven't found a need to yet. You can communicate with some preset phrases like hello, goodbye, good game, thank you, etc. You know, that's acceptable and it's fine. Some of my friends saw me playing it the other day and he said it looked more social than Destiny, and I was like, well, he's got that, you know, it has got that, it's better than Destiny. It wasn't trying very hard, but it didn't need to. All in all, I really like the online modes. Not so much the versus mode. The co-op mode I love, though. I think this game is better for co-op than it is versus, because the controls are a little bit iffy, and I'll go into that a little bit more in a bit. Of course, there are local missions and side quests that you can do with people around town. For example, I saw Nappa, and Nappa wanted me to help him beat up all the Earthlings, including Yamcha, Krillin, Tien, Piccolo, Goku, and that was a lot of fun. In other times, I've had to help Raditz fight against Goku and Piccolo, and Guldo's asked me for help against Goku, etc. You know, just little battles from across the Dragon Ball Z universe that you can get involved in, and you can get involved on both sides of the argument, which is really nice. The only real problem I have to say about online is that if you create an online co-op room, a little lobby to gather people, you will always get kicked out of your little lobby after the game, You can't just say change the level you want to do and keep the same people and just go straight into the next game. No, you have to leave the lobby, and it puts you at another part of the world map, so you have to walk back over to the lobby receptionist to set up a new room, and that's somewhat frustrating, because I just wanted to do another one, and another one, and one more, and I had to keep losing my lobby and waiting for new people to join, and that's frustrating, and I really hope that's something that they could potentially fix in the future. No guarantees there, though. A large part of this game is the character customization, and I adore it. I adore it. I love... You can basically buy costumes from numerous characters across the Dragon Ball universe, and even their accessories, like the announcer's glasses, and it seems like Grandpa Gohan's bunny mask thing. And of course there's different coloured scouters and loads of crazy little things that you might have forgot were even in Dragon Ball you can buy and equip and use, and that's fantastic. I absolutely adore it. When you're creating your character from scratch, there are of course many more differences here than there were in the network test version, which I'll put a link to the video to that network tester first impressions video. I'll put a link to that in the description and in this video. And you know, you have a lot of customization options, but it is still at the end of the day just hairstyles and sort of features from characters across the Dragon Ball universe, and mixing these all together you can make varied and very different looking characters. But if you're going for like a Saiyan or human type character, then they're going to look very similar. I mean, they do anyway, but they are going to look very similar. If you want to make a really unique looking character, it looks like you're going to have to go for some of the other races. And the races are great. You've got the Saiyan race and the human race, again, similar. You've got Frieza's race, literally just called Frieza's race. You've got the Buu race, you know, Majin Buu. And you've got the Namekians. And that's fantastic. I mean, the Namekians, the Frieza race, and the Buu race, you can make all look very unique. I should say that the Frieza race, as you may be able to imagine, for the most part, just looks like Frieza's different forms in various sizes and various like horn forms. Not huge amounts of variety with that, to be honest, but you can change the skin color to pretty much anything, and that really does make things different, because I was walking about and I just saw a giant blue Namekian with a mohawk, and I was like, well, that looks really cool, and that's a really unique character. You can get some really cool Majin Buu looking characters. For the most part, all I've seen is that you can get the fat version of Buu. I haven't seen like Kid Buu or you know, that normal Buu walking around. And yeah, the Namekians again, like I said, incredibly varied and very lovely. You'd be surprised how much variety you can get out of the Namekian sets, especially because they got like different hairstyles and such, like, if you can call them hairstyles. They look more like fins. So yeah, I love the online co-op. I love the character customization. It's very nice. The equipment is, again, you know, just stuff from across the Dragon Ball universe. Here's Nappa's equipment, here's Raditz's equipment, here's Vegeta's equipment, like his normal gi, here's Tien's, here's Yamcha's, here's Goku's. Really standard stuff. Then there's, you know, Krillin from his original temple before he started learning from Master Roshi. And we have the Karinga tribe, which live at the foot of Karin's tower. And so, you know, there is a good variety there, and they've even picked up from the smaller characters in Dragon Ball universe. Like, they certainly didn't have to pick up the Karinga tribe and give you their costume to wear. And to be honest, I would not have expected them to, but they did. They did, and that's fantastic. The story mode, like I said, I like it, but it seems rather difficult, and I think this is because I was focusing on the story mode only for a while, and I wasn't leveling up, of course, because of the side quests or because of the parallel quests, which you can gather money and experience from these, and I recommend it because it got to a point in story mode where I would absolutely have to use an item every battle because they would take off too much damage, and that's not a good way to go, to be perfectly honest. All in all, I really like Dragon Ball Xenoverse. I like the world it builds. I like the way it introduces you. I like the fact you can see everyone running around while you're in that world, and you can see these different characters that people have created. And you can even like use like silly emotes like the fusion stance and the fucking what's it called? Yeah, the spirit bomb charging stance, little things like that, which I really like. So you can interact with the people around you, even if it's not verbally. I still really appreciate that. Like you said, still more social than Destiny. Somehow it managed it. Yeah. All in all, I'm really enjoying Dragon Ball Xenoverse. I should have a full review up soon. Until then, stay tuned and keep an eye on this one, because this isn't like the old Dragon Ball games. The old Dragon Ball games were basically fighting games with a Dragon Ball skin, and you could sometimes float in the air. That's basically what they were. What we have with this, and of course Battle of Z, which was the last Dragon Ball game that I played, they actually feel like Dragon Ball games, because it's actually you flying around, and it's actually you facing these larger than life enemies. It's not just a fighting game with a Dragon Ball skin. Those are better for like competitive play or skillful play, and this, through the controls, sometimes feel like a mishmash of a bit of everything, but they have made it work. It can be complicated. You can jump into the air and start flying about with X or cross on the PS4 pad. That's fantastic. Press the left trigger to start flying about properly and going fast. That's great. If you want to go up, you hold X, and if you want to go down, you have to press in the left stick. That's awkward. I have to press in the left stick just to go down. It seems like a really, really weird way to do it, especially when jumping up higher is just like a normal face button. And there are some other weird controls like that, and it doesn't feel like the most complex of fighting games, because it doesn't feel like a fighting game so much anymore as it does a Dragon Ball game. Because in Dragon Ball, all the action you can barely fucking see, it's going way too fast, people are flying about, energy lasers going everywhere, and that's what this is. It feels like you're a Dragon Ball Z character, or Dragon Ball character. You do feel like you're a part of that world, and you're interacting with it, and that's one thing I really appreciate about this. It's one of those things where I feel like people who aren't a fan of Dragon Ball will find this harder to play than the older games. But assumedly everyone who does play this would be a fan of Dragon Ball, and they will stick it out and they will enjoy it for what it is, a fantastic bit of fan service. But yeah, like I said, review out later in the week. Even though this game has issues, hugely enjoying it, to be perfectly honest. Thank you very much, stay tuned, and you know, like, comment, favourite, subscribe if you can be asked. Thank you very much.
Very well then, we'll finish this playtime you were speaking of. Vegeta, let me handle this. I'll wrap this up really fast. Do as you please. Now then, who is it going to be? What the tap? This isn't good. I'm used to this kind of pressure. You seem to be having fun. Don't underestimate Earth. Saiyans aren't the only ones who are trained in the art of battle. Even if you're a Namek, by yourself you might as well be a fly. You'll see soon enough that I'm not a fly. But where's the power coming from? Not bad, but the battle has just begun. Surprising. You're a lot stronger than I expected. Run, Gohan!
Saiyan? You mean there's others?
You have the blood of a Saiyan too. I have a feeling that this is gonna be interesting.
I won't lose to you! Piccolo! Dad! Mr. Piccolo! I'm sorry!
I'm a Saiyan raised on Earth, too. No reason to go easy on each other. Know what I mean?
I'll avenge everyone! Really think you can beat me? So you're finally here. I'm not going to let you get away with this!
Take this! Pretty good! That was one heck of a move! Doesn't look like I should hold back. Over here! Didn't think you'd be this strong. Wow! You really are strong.
What's the matter? I know you've got more than that.